Hi everyone and welcome back to the Borderlands 3 video. So in this one we're gonna talk about DeathCast Amara, so let's jump into it guys. So this is gonna be the second part of the first build I've posted recently, which was a flag build. So the goal of this series is to put out as many different weapons as opposed to what we always go for. So for example we're gonna have the Bloodstaff Beast instead of something like the Plasma Coil. So yeah, that's kinda the whole point of this build. So in this one there are gonna be new weapons in comparison of the last build, same for the two other ones. There will be a Moze and a Zane. So I would like to point that I had to modify the skill tree in order to put out this video because we got the Expedite skill recently fixed and it wasn't included in the first videos that I shot it, so I decided to go with something a bit new and different. Thanks to this skill, we got a pretty nasty setup. I'm so happy about this one that I'm gonna make a regular build with it, with all the regular weapons and whatnot. What I'm trying to say here, it's mostly about the anointments, because as you can see here, we are using face cast anoint, but this build will work better with Tired Bound. So originally the goal of this build was to use face cast, so I tried to stick with this one and it made the build kind of interesting. It's kind of up to you, you will be able to swap to it in no time like that by doing so, but you will have to rework all the anointments. So if you don't know what to use, go with I don't know, consecutive hits, or use the Tired Bound anoint. And let's go back to the weapon. So first of all we have the Bloodstaff Beast, and this weapon is probably the strongest SMG on the build right now. Same for the Kipsworth. I will put this one at the second spot. So for the other SMG we have the Umber Spurge. I don't really like to use her because it's locked into fire. And lastly for the SMGs we have the Troubleshooter. So this one has a gimmick of adapting bullets, adapting elements. It kinda depends of the enemies that you're shooting. So next I've put a bunch of pistols. They're all locked into the element that you're gonna see. For example we have the L-Shock for fire and shock, and this one's underrated. Same for the Hornet, this one's underrated as well. I don't really like to use the burst fire on it. So we also have the Gargoyle, and I tried it back recently for this build, and this weapon is a freaking beast. I love this one. So the only downside about this one is the corrosive element lock. And finally for the pistol we have the Clockwork Rays. This one's a utility weapon in order to revive your teammates. So we also have a bunch of assault rifle. We have the good juju, and the damage is a bit underwhelming, but it's still a solid one. So we have them in all the elements, so same as for the Hornet, I don't really like the burst fire. So for the shotgun, we have a bunch of them. We have the Garcia first of all, because this weapon slaps, and also because I'm used to put an L-Walker in each of my builds, so I wanted to have a successor in this one. We also have the Tix Boom in all the elements. I love the gimmick of this one, it has a good damage. So for snipers I've put the Storm, thanks to the recent buff that touched all the snipers across the game, so this is now a good one. And we also have the Krakatoa, which is another underrated weapon. Finally for the weapons we have the Yellow Cake and the Rhina, which I rediscovered a little bit thanks to this build, and yeah, this weapon is amazing for mobbing. And so we're done with the weapons, so let's go over the gear. So we have the Revolter with an ASC on it, thanks to the level 1 thing. That way we can use 2 ASC. We also have one who's on level. This one has an ASS on it. We have the Nova Banner, the version of the Theme, the Stopgap, the Frozen Snowshoe, the Void Rift, the Frozen Earth, and we also have the Big Boom Blaster, which does not benefit from the ASS. For the nades, I've put all the Hunter Seekers with all the ASC and all the elements on them, plus a P-Nade on level 1. So for the artifacts, as always I've put a Snowdrift Victory Rush for running around. I love this one. We also have a Cut First Launch Pad for regenerating ammo. It's a must have on any build. The Elemental Projector Victory Rush and the Icebreaker Victory Rush are freaking good for damage, but we also have better choices nowadays, such as the Toboggan for running around. So that's the artifact that you should go with for any one-tapping setup. We have the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, and finally we have the Company Man for Vladov, Maliwan, Kidio, Jacobs, Hyperion and Dal. So finally for the gear we have the Face Zacker for class mode and also the Spiritual Driver. So I'd advise you to use the one that I'm rocking for most of the situation because we're gonna be a build with huge DPS and huge elemental damage. So this one is better overall. So that's kinda it for the gear and the weapons, guys. So again, I will drop the sci-fi on my Discord if you want to join us. So let's move on to the skill tree, guys. But before going over the skill tree, I would like to say that dropping a like, a comment, or even clicking the sub button will help me a ton, and I would really appreciate that. So thanks for that, and let's keep going. So we have a weird spec here, because we took heavy rain because it's good for us for the projectile speed and the splash damage. So we did that to reach Expedite, and we are not using any melee, so those skills are useless. I've gone for this one. It's not the greatest one. Those would have been better, but we're not using any melee damage. So I've gone with 5 into this one to move down the tree to get Expedite. And thanks to Expedite, we're gonna get a weird blue tree, but this shit is dope. First of all, we have 4 points into Dwarm and 1 into Violent Tapestry. We don't need to put more into them. 3 into Fasten and 3 into Transcend. We did put 4 points into Alacrity. I love this one. So the first big particularity is there's no point into Restless. We don't need it. As you might have seen in the footage, we are getting our action skill back in no time. I did testing with Avatar once, and it was a bit tricky. So we did go down to Remnant, 3 into Light Bear and 1 into Assonant. For the green tree, we are down to Mindfulness if we want to do the Spiritual Diver setup. 5 points into Arms Deal, this one is important for us for the splash damage. And also Personal Space, this one's gonna boost everything. Finally for the red tree, this is a weird spec, because we did put points into all the skills. So we put 5 into Anima, 5 into Tempest, 3 into Steady Hands, 1 into Illuminated Fist, only 2 into Infusion, no need to put more, 2 points into Wildfire, because we're trying to do a lot of DPS, elemental damage, dot and whatnot, so this is a must-have. We did put 3 points into Indiscriminate, must-have, 1 point into Deep Well, honestly you can move it, 1 into Catharsis. We grabbed Sustainment in order to stay alive, since we're only using weapons that have elemental damage on it, so yeah. 5 points into Conflux, this is thanks to our class mod. And finally, Forceful Expression, this one's boosting our elemental damage, and that's kinda it for the skill tree, guys, so I really hope you enjoyed this one. This is a fun spec. I really love this one. Again, the sci-fi is in our Discord. And I will also make a regular one with all the good gear that you all love. And yes, that's it, guys. So thanks again for watching. Really hope you enjoyed this one. Take care and happy farming, guys.